So clearly I'm still stuck in the workshop working on the Alfa, but actually I'm not. I'm in Italy, Brescia, signing on for the Mille Miglia, and by some magic of editing, you'll see me doing that. So yeah, we got the car done. It's been vexing. The last week you saw I was working on that clutch business and put the engine back in, or tried to, and marry it up to the gearbox. It didn't like that, so the box had to come out. So yeah, to get the gearbox out, as I think I've explained before, you need to get the bench seat out, then the floor out, and then you can lift it out that way. Well, actually, I lifted it out through the engine bay on my shoulder rather than through the car. But anyway, it's out. I married it up on the floor and got it all sitting there nicely. It all went in and reinstalled it, which you'll see. And then I still wasn't happy with that clutch. So what had happened is I think I'd taken up that free play, but a little bit too much free play when I modified that bearing. And of course, what happens is as the clutch wears, it takes up the free play. And then what would happen is then if you didn't have enough free play, you'll run out of free play. And then the release bearing will be pushing against the fingers of the clutch and it will start to slip. And I thought, well, that's, I can't risk any of that. So it all come out again. It didn't take long because I hadn't done a lot of connecting up. I hadn't put all the cooling system back in or anything like that. So it come out again, split the two, put it all on the lathe again, machined it down a bit more, took another 3mm off of it, which I think's enough. I think it's good now. And now the clutch pedal's feather light, it's lovely. So it's all back together, running. A few little more bits and pieces to do, but we're getting there. But I'm sort of sorting through other stuff whilst I'm amongst it, and finding other issues that needed attending to. Those bushes on the column change, well, I'd never have found that had I not taken the gearbox out, and one of them fell off, so that needed doing. The throttle linkage was all badly done. They hadn't put the pins back in it, whoever worked on it before, and they were all worn out, so I bought new ball joints for that and sorted them out. And that's about it, really. So it's all back in there, all running, all lovely. So that's it. So wish us luck. So, got the gearbox attached to the engine, all sorted out now. This thing here is to try and keep the old rubber donut together, because they do tend to spring out, particularly these ones. These ones that are 6 on the Fiat Dinos, they have an 8, and the 8s are a lot better because they have less rubber on them, so they don't spring out so much. So that's that. See, we're getting there. Got a few more nuts to fit to it. And I've found some problems with the gear linkage, which is actually all right, really, because that's, had I not had to take the engine out, I wouldn't have found them. So maybe there's a reason for it. Maybe it's trying to tell us something. Maybe it feels it's being looked after properly and it wants us to do the right thing by it. Anyway, we wouldn't have wanted it falling off when we was out in Italy. It would not have been a good thing. So I've made a bush up to replace this wonky old thing. That you can see it fell off actually. It should have a split pin going through here, through the end here. And even with the split pin on, that thing just fell off, so that wouldn't have been any good. So I've made this little bit up. But anyway, that's the idea. So this is all on the column change for the gear stick. So here we have this brass bush here that I've had to make. The other one fell off, so had we not got the gearbox out, as I say, you can't get the gearbox out without taking the whole floor out. So had I not done that, we'd have never seen that bush. So that's a good thing. Right, this is where it goes on here, you see. This is the bit that takes it through the gate. But yeah, with that there, that there, I think it's going to actuate enough, articulate enough rather, you see. Should allow it to articulate, and it's got to do this. So that one moves it through the gate. Yeah, you see. Now that's neutral there. Yeah, so that moves it through the gate rather this one. And this is actually doing our actual selection of the gears. And then that's a sort of just a steady for those rods. So I reckon that'll sort it out. It's got a bit of play in it, which is what you want, or give. They call it give rather than play. I reckon that'll do it. But yeah, we should be able to get it in now. So let's go for an install. So we've got to go in like that. And we'll sort of pop it through there. You can see the prop shaft there where it's got to marry up to. Now I haven't taken the prop shaft off because it's a pain, and you've got to take the rest of the transmission tunnel out from inside the car, which means taking the bench seat out, which I didn't want to do. It's heavy and I can't do it on my own. So yeah, that's what we're trying to do. I think it'll be alright. Let's have a go, shall we? So, we're bank holiday Monday, which is well, it's 2 weeks in advance of the event, but it's not quite 2 weeks before I travel out to Italy. So yeah, we're up against it a bit. Well, it's that in there. Shall we see how we get on? Right, get you off the stand. You can see what we're trying to do here. So you see, we're having to articulate like this. So what we've got to do is feed that gearbox through that hole down in there. It's got to go over that cross member and tuck in that hole there, isn't it? So if we have a look inside the car, you'll see what we're trying to do. So now I'll tip it back the other way, you see? There it is, popping in through there. Then it's got to go over this cross member here. So it's got to tip that way, and then it's got to come back, and then we'll have to marry up with the prop shaft. Now it'd be better with the prop shaft out of the way, but I haven't got time to muck about. Mind you, I said that with the gearbox, trying to leave it in, and I had to do it anyway, didn't I? But there you go. I think I'll get away with this bit, he says. back down a bit more so we come back where we were. Okay, should have a look. Yeah, you see, we're in. Disgraced itself though, hasn't it? Look at that. Anyway, it's my fault. I should have drained more out. Mind you, it didn't. I couldn't drain any more out because of the leather it was at. Okay, so there we're in. You see our gearbox are in. What I might do is get the prop connected up now. It sounds a bit silly really, but I do need to. I don't want that sort of forcing itself against it. If that's on, and then I should be able to bring it back enough on the engine mounts or gearbox mounts, because we've got these mounts here, and then obviously the engine mount's got to go back on. But there we are, it's in. I feel a bit better about that. That was a right struggle the other day, wasn't it? So I've got these through bolts through, and with this, which is we didn't really look at it earlier properly, did we? But it's you can see it's Jubilee clips. It's 3 Jubilee clips joined together. I've put some cable ties around to try and keep it in place. Obviously you have this strengthener, you have to rely on that reinforcement going through it. But by twisting these, you can get these all to line up nicely so they pop through. So that went in quite well. Now when you buy these donuts, they normally come with a sort of bit of spring steel that sort of clips them together, and you fit them and then cut it off. Well, obviously that's not much use once it's off, and I ain't got one anyway, so they don't always come with it, but anyway, so that's the trick. You use one of those, you know, or 3 of them in this case, Jubilees, and so the cable ties just stop it tipping off. So that's that. So now we see the gearbox mounts, which again are fairly unconventional because they're right up here on this end of the gearbox, not this end, which is a surprise, isn't it? So normally they're far up here, aren't they, sort of underslung. Anyway, that's it. So there's your big mount there, then that lot. So then that pops over there like that. That's the actual mount itself, goes in there like that. See, it's sort of slotting it there. And then we've got to fit these. So this has got to go on like that. You have that one on there. And then we've got to have something in here, which is this one, which someone's cut, you know, rather neatly cut a slot head in there to make it easier for us to do up, which actually is quite a good thing. That's not a bad little trick there. I approve of that one. But yeah, we sort of, see he's going in a bit of an angle there. Don't want it cross-threaded, do we? But anyway, I can get it started by hand. There you go, and then we can just wind it in with this a bit, can't we? So that makes life a little easier. Okay, something like that, and then we've got these to go in, which are probably underneath. I've probably left them underneath, but I'll get the other side in to this level before I worry too much about that. That side there, you see. Okay, ain't too bad, is it? Bit of a menace, isn't it? But it's not too bad. There we go. So this side, so it's more of the same. This funny little washer. It's quite a nice thing, isn't it? Tell I don't get out enough when I'm saying washers are nice. That's the trouble, isn't it? Stuck here on a bank holiday Monday doing this. I don't get out enough. It'll all be worth it. If we can keep this thing going around Italy, it'll be worth it. See, again, they put a slot in there. Yeah, so I don't disapprove of that. I think that wasn't a bad idea. Now, I can't do that. I need 2 hands for this, so I'm going to put you down. So I'll say goodbye for now. I think more free play. That's enough. I want to split this and adjust it. So as the clutch bed's in, that free play will be taken up as the clutch clutch fingers come back, and I don't reckon that's quite enough. I think it's good, but you know, if that's all we got and that free play gets taken up, what will happen is it'll be pushing on the fingers, will be pushing against it, and then it'll tend to slip the clutch, and we don't want that. So you see here, this is sort of how it operates. This is the old clutch cover. This is where the release bearing works on these fingers here, and these pivot on this point here, which then lifts this pressure plate away, this cast iron bit. Those are the springs that do the clamping pressure. So you can see, you know, as you move that down, that's what it does. You see it moves this up, moves that one up, doesn't it, there, you see? Which allows it to disengage the clutch, doesn't it? But obviously, as the clutch wears down, that plate, you know, gets less gap. So effectively, those fingers move back up towards the release bearing, and then they'll be pulling against it with no free play and could slip the clutch. So that's why I'm putting extra effort into this at this point, which, you know, I've taken up a lot of the free play by modifying the bearing. Now I'm going backwards, trying to give it some more, but that's the nature of it. This is what you call development. And we ain't got a long window for development, have we, on this car? That looks better to me. Yeah, I'd have said there's nothing wrong with that. So there you can see the fingers there. You can see got plenty of free play there. I think by the time that free play's been taken up, the clutch will be so worn already that it'll be just about finished anyway. So I think that'll do. I'm quite happy with that. So there we are. So that's all in, isn't it? That's all. Hold on, that was so that's neutral, you see, so it moves through the quadrant there. So much like a floor shift, you know, you move the quadrant through and you can see there it actuating. So that's our neutral position, so you can see it's all free. We pop it into gear, it locks up. If I use the foot on the clutch, it releases it. See? So the clutch is operating, it feels a lot better, doesn't it? So that's good. So that's all working, that's all a lot better. Now let's just start her up and see what we got. Now that's just turning because of the inertia in the gearbox, you see. I can hold that, or I can just put my foot on the brake. Now we've got no back wheels on and it's jacked up at the back, which is why this is turning, obviously. But so that's just the inertia in the gearbox, you see, that doesn't do anything. But if I put it in gear, I'll stop it, put it in gear, we can see, look, it takes up nicely and runs well. And then foot on the clutch, stop it. See, that's all good, isn't it? And if I want reverse, see, it goes the other way. That's all good, isn't it? And so that's just the inertia. So, see, I can hold that. That's just the inertia in the gearbox. But yeah, it's looking good, isn't it? I'm pleased with that. All good. So, well, that's a success, wasn't it? Just as well, really. Need it ready, don't we? So this is our, you know, column change. A bit like the old Zephyrs and things like that, isn't it? But there we are. Apart from it's a 4-speed, whereas they were always 3-speed, weren't they? Well, that's it. There's our seals. So that's what we'll be having done, is the seal. So they put that on to say that the car's been checked, passed scrutineering, and that we're all fit to drive it. Anyway, no, they don't seal us, they just seal the car. But it's a big deal. So that's that. And then, of course, there's a mass, and the Padre comes out and blesses the cars with the holy water. So that'll be interesting. And I'm sort of quite looking forward to that bit, being back in the church after many, many years, and actually at the service rather than just spectating or visiting. So yeah, I haven't taken absolution, so I don't expect they'll let me take communion, but there we are. I've got a lot of things I need absolution for, but 30, 40 years of not doing it. There we are. Oh dear.